Today I ask you something: what's wrong with your Social Security documents file? What if the number on your Social Security check for your US-UK state pension has been wrong this whole time? Not wrong by a little, wrong by enough to cost you £200 or $300 every single month. Every month. For years. And here is the part that is hardest to hear. Nobody at the government noticed. Nobody sent a letter. Nobody flagged it. The money you earned, the contributions you paid in for 30, 40 years, was recorded incorrectly. And your monthly payment has been quietly smaller than it should be ever since. There is one document that can show you whether this has happened to you. It is free. It takes less than 10 minutes to find. And most people have never looked at it once in their entire retirement. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what it is, what to look for inside it, and precisely what to do if you find something wrong. Let's go. Before we start, I want to say something directly. I am not here to alarm you. I am not here to sell you anything. What I am going to show you today is something I wish someone had shown every retired person I have ever worked with, before they needed it, rather than after the damage was already done. Because the people this affects are not careless people. They are the most careful people in the world. People who worked for decades, paid their taxes on time, did everything right, and are receiving less than they earned, simply because a number on a government record was never checked. I do not want that to be you. So let me show you what to look for. Let me start with what this document actually is. In the United States, it is called your Social Security Statement. It lives inside a free online account called My Social Security at the official government website ssa.gov. If you have never set one up, it takes about 5 minutes, and once you are logged in, your statement is right there. Inside that statement is something most people have genuinely never looked at: your complete earnings history. Every single year you have ever worked, every year you paid into Social Security, going all the way back to your very first job, each year listed, each year with a dollar amount next to it. In the United Kingdom, the equivalent is your national insurance record. It lives inside the government gateway at gov.uk. You can access it in minutes, and once you are in, you will see every year of your working life recorded against your national insurance number. Every year marked as either a full year, a partial year, or a gap. Now, here is why this record matters so much. In the US, your Social Security benefit is calculated from your 35 highest earning years. Those years are inflation adjusted, averaged together, and run through a formula that produces your monthly check. That means every single number on that list directly affects how much you receive every month for the rest of your life. In the UK, your full new state pension requires 35 qualifying years of national insurance contributions. Each full year on your record counts toward that 35. Each gap reduces it. The calculation in both countries sounds simple, but here is the problem. The numbers on that record did not come from you. They came from your employers, from payroll departments, from companies that may have closed decades ago, from self-employment tax returns that may not have been processed correctly. And sometimes they are wrong. Let me make this real. In the US, according to the Social Security Administration's own figures, a single year of missing or incorrect earnings can reduce your monthly benefit by approximately $100. $100 a month. That is $1,200 a year. Over a 20-year retirement, that one wrong year quietly costs you $24,000. $24,000 from a single line. On a record you have never been asked to check. And if there are 2 or 3 incorrect years, you multiply that number right out. In the UK, a single missing year of national insurance contributions reduces your state pension by approximately £5.82 per week. That is £302 a year. Over a 20-year retirement, one missing qualifying year costs you over £6,000. And the full new state pension requires 35 years. Some people have 30, or 28, or 25. Each gap is money they earned the right to, that they are simply not receiving. Here is the part that I find genuinely upsetting on behalf of every person this has happened to. The government did not make these errors on purpose. Payroll records from the 1980s were submitted by hand. Small business owners with paper ledgers, payroll clerks typing numbers into systems that are long gone, self-employed people whose tax returns were not always processed correctly, honest mistakes made decades ago, sitting silently on your record, costing you real money every single month. Now I want you to listen to this next section carefully, because I am going to describe 4 groups of people most likely to have an error on their record, and I want you to hear whether you recognize yourself. Group 1. People who worked for small businesses in the 1980s and 1990s. Back then, payroll in small companies was often done by hand, by an owner with a ledger, by someone who had 20 other things to worry about. Honest errors were far more common than they are today. If you spent years working for a local shop, a family business, a small trade company, your record is exactly the kind that tends to have mistakes. Group 2. People who were ever self-employed, freelancers, contractors, people who ran their own business. In both the UK and the US, the way self-employment income is reported leaves significant room for a year to be recorded incorrectly or to not show up at all. If you ever worked for yourself, even for a few years, look at those years closely. Group 3. People who changed jobs frequently. Every new employer was another chance for a payroll office to mistype a number, to enter the wrong national insurance number or social security number, to send your earnings somewhere they could not attach to your record. The more jobs you held, the more chances there were for something to go wrong. Group 4. And this one matters enormously. Women who change their name. In the US, if the name your employer reported to Social Security did not match the name on your record, your earnings may not have attached correctly. In the UK, national insurance contributions reported under a previous name can sometimes fail to link to your current record. Years of real work, real contributions, simply not counted. Let me tell you about a woman I will call Patricia. She is 69, lives in Birmingham. She got married at 26, took her husband's name, worked for 14 years in hospital administration under that name, then divorced at 40, changed her name back, and carried on working for another 20 years. When Patricia finally checked her national insurance record last year, there was a 7-year stretch in the middle of her career where her contributions were significantly lower than she remembered. She had never changed her national insurance number, but the name mismatch during those transition years had caused some of her contributions to sit, unattached, in the system. Not credited to her, not credited to anyone, just floating. She had been drawing her state pension for 3 years at a reduced rate, without ever knowing why. When we got it corrected, her state pension increased, not by a fortune, but by enough to matter, every month, for the rest of her life. Patricia told me afterwards, the money was not what stayed with her most. It was the realization that she had earned every penny of it, and nobody had ever told her to check. So, what do you actually do? Let me walk you through it simply. Step 1. Find your record. In the US, go to ssa.gov. Create a My Social Security account if you do not have one. It is free. Takes 5 minutes. Use only the real ssa.gov, not any third-party site that claims to help. In the UK, go to gov.uk. Search check your national insurance record. Log in with your government gateway account. If you do not have one, it takes about 10 minutes to set up. Step 2. Read it carefully. In the US, find the earnings history section. Look at every year, every single one. Going back as far as it goes, you are looking for 3 things. Years where the number looks lower than you know you earned. Years that show as 0 when you know you were working. And years that are missing entirely. In the UK, look for gaps. Years marked as not full qualifying years. Periods where you know you were working or paying contributions, but the record does not reflect it. Step 3. Gather what you have. Old payslips, old tax returns, old P60 forms if you are in the UK, old W2 forms if you are in the US. Bank statements showing your salary from those years. Any paperwork at all that shows what you actually earned. And here is something most people do not know. In the US, even if you threw away all your old paperwork years ago, the Social Security Administration can pull copies of your W2 forms going back to 1978 for free when the purpose is correcting your record. In the UK, HMRC holds employment records that can be used to support a correction request. A missing shoebox of old papers is not a reason to stop. Step 4. Make the correction. In the US, the form is called a Request for Correction of Earnings Record. You submit it to Social Security with whatever documentation you have. Once processed, your benefit is recalculated. The higher amount starts with your next payment. In the UK, contact the National Insurance Helpline on 03002003500 or write to HMRC's National Insurance Contributions Office with your evidence. They will review your record and make corrections where the evidence supports it. And one important note for both countries: do not assume that because an error happened 30 years ago, it is too late to fix. Errors from decades ago can still be corrected with the right documentation. The money does not have an expiry date. Before we finish, I want to give you 2 more things that could increase your payment beyond fixing an error. The first, survivor and spousal benefits in the US. If you are widowed and your late spouse had a higher Social Security benefit than your own, you may be entitled to receive their benefit instead of yours. You do not receive both, but you receive the higher one. If you have never specifically asked Social Security to compare both records and put you on the higher amount, make that call this week. The number is 1-800-772-1213. Ask them directly. Am I on the highest benefit I am entitled to based on my own record and my spouse's record? Those exact words. For some people watching this right now, that single question could permanently increase your monthly income. The second, filling gaps in your UK national insurance record. If your record shows gaps, years where you did not make full contributions, you may be able to pay voluntary contributions to fill them. The cost of filling one gap year is currently around £824. The benefit, if that year gives you an additional qualifying year toward your full state pension, is approximately £302 extra every year for the rest of your life. If you live for 20 years after claiming, that £824 investment returns over £6,000. That is roughly an 8-to-1 return. Guaranteed. Index-linked. For life. There is a deadline for filling older gaps, so check your record and speak to a financial advisor about whether voluntary contributions make sense for your situation before time runs out. I want to say something before we finish. If you have been receiving a reduced payment for years without knowing, please do not carry that as a source of guilt or frustration directed at yourself. You trusted a system. You assumed it was keeping track. And for most people, it did, but not for everyone. And the only way to know which group you're in is to look. You worked for every penny that went into that record. Early mornings, long weeks, jobs you stayed in longer than you wanted to, contributions made faithfully across decades. That record is the financial proof of a working life. You deserve to know what it says, and if it says something wrong, you deserve to have it corrected. That is not a bureaucratic process. That is simply getting what you earned. If this video opened your eyes to something you had not considered, please share it with someone you care about who is on Social Security or close to retirement, because this information will not come from the government, and it might matter more to someone you know than to anyone else they will hear from today. And if you want honest, plain English guidance on retirement money every single week, built for real people in the UK and the USA, subscribe. No products, no agenda. Just the truth, explained clearly, so you keep every penny you are owed. One thing to do today: go to ssa.gov or gov.uk. Find your earnings record. Read it. That is all. 10 minutes. Potentially thousands of pounds or dollars, for the rest of your life. Patricia wishes someone had told her sooner. Now someone has told you. I will see you in the next one.